2100 Divine Paragon's Demon Sealing Arts.
How dare a mere immortal?
The black-masked figure muttered coldly, his voice laced with disdain. Yet, despite Yuan's provocation, he remained composed. Unlike the expendable pawns that littered the battlefield, he was no mindless fanatic and wouldn't risk himself so easily. Though he could theoretically overpower Yuan with sheer cultivation alone, he dared not act recklessly. The threat of Yuan's demon-sealing aura loomed like a blade at his throat. Having accepted a demon's power, he was now inherently vulnerable to its natural counter, demon-sealing aura. In such confrontations, cultivation alone meant little. However, despite Yuan single-handedly holding the northern front, the other regions struggled to contain the relentless advance of the demon worshippers.
Damn it. Why the hell are there so many demon worshippers? This is unprecedented. Look over there. More are coming.
Suddenly, the demon sealers spotted fresh waves of demon worshippers approaching from the horizon, an overwhelming black tide surging toward them like a living storm.
Something isn't right. There can't be this many demon worshippers.
Zhou Yanfei had a deep frown on his face as he contemplated the situation. Then, a look of realization and disgust washed over his face.
It can't be.
Not only were there too many demon worshippers, but most of these individuals were within the spirit realm and divine realm.
They must be controlling these people like puppets. They're not true demon worshippers, just sacrificial pawns.
Zhou Yanfei exclaimed, shocking everyone present.
Then how the hell should we deal with them?
Someone there asked. If these people were truly innocent people being controlled by the real demon worshippers, they'd feel guilty killing them. However, if they didn't stop them, these people would turn into suicidal bombs, inflicting immeasurable damage to the demon-sealing grotto.
Those wearing the black demon masks must be the ones controlling them. Take them down first. The control should end once they're dead.
Zhou Yanfei commanded with urgency. The demon sealers immediately shifted their focus to the black-masked figures. However, reaching them was easier said than done. The pawns swarmed around their masters like a living shield, and any attempt to approach was met with detonations from the red-masked ones, turning themselves into deadly explosives. Since there was no definitive proof that the red-masked individuals were merely innocent people under control, the demon sealers made no effort to minimize their casualties. Even if they were innocent, the fall of the demon-sealing grotto would bring about far greater destruction. If the demon-sealing grotto were to collapse, the demons would no longer need to hide in the shadows in fear. Although cultivators today far surpass those from the demonic era and might ultimately repel another demon invasion, the demons would still wreak catastrophic havoc across the 9 heavens, claiming countless innocent lives in the process. Realizing how desperate the situation was, Yanhara spoke to Yuan using voice transmission.
Yuan, can I use your techniques to stop these people from destroying their Dantian?
Yuan responded.
If your demon-sealing aura is strong enough, it's possible. But if I do that, it'll reveal to the world that I have received the divine paragon's legacy.
Since Yanhara had yet to reveal any of the techniques bestowed upon her by Yuan, only a select few were aware that she now wielded the divine paragon's demon-sealing arts.
It has to happen eventually anyway,
said Yuan.
I understand.
With Yuan's approval, Yanhara tossed aside all hesitation and unleashed the divine paragon's techniques. A torrent of demon-sealing aura erupted from her, sweeping across the battlefield like a divine tempest. Both demon worshippers and demon sealers alike were shaken by its sheer magnitude.
Demon sealing zone.
In an instant, a massive barrier was erected, covering the entire battlefield.
This technique is...
Zhou Yanfei's eyes widened as he quickly recognized the technique being deployed and was shocked endlessly.
The divine paragon's demon sealing art. Demon sealing zone. Why the hell do you have this technique?
He shouted at her in a cracked voice. However, Yanhara ignored him and focused on the technique. Sensing the imminent threat, the demon worshippers immediately turned to flee.
Seal.
Yanhara's voice thundered across the battlefield as her demon-sealing aura surged forth, enveloping the red-masked individuals and sealing them all within the confines of the demon-sealing zone. In the blink of an eye, nearly all of the demon worshippers were sealed. However, since the black-masked individuals had a much higher cultivation, they were able to escape the demon-sealing zone and avoid being sealed. The demon worshipper reinforcements froze in their tracks upon witnessing the scene, and they even began retreating in fear. With a single technique, Yanhara had single-handedly halted the demon worshippers' invasion. However, the feat had drained nearly all of her energy, and if they were to strike again, she wouldn't have the strength to stop them a second time.
Well done.
Yuan praised her through voice transmission.
Thank you. I've been training in secret ever since you entrusted me with the technique.
She replied, her heart uplifted by the praise of its creator.
Yanhara, answer me. Why the hell do you have the Divine Paragon's demon sealing art?
Zhou Yanfei approached her afterward, demanding an answer.
What? That was the Divine Paragon's technique? I thought it disappeared with the Divine Paragon.
The demon sealers were shocked to learn this. Yanhara met Zhou Yanfei's gaze with a composed expression and said clearly.
It's simple. I've inherited the Divine Paragon's legacy. You what?
Zhou Yanfei burst out in disbelief.
The Divine Paragon's legacy?
Even the black-masked demon worshippers froze in shock. None of them had foreseen such a staggering revelation emerging amidst their invasion.
What should we do? Our plans will. Calm down.
A cold, commanding voice cut through the rising panic. In the next instant, a suffocating pressure swept across the battlefield, sinister and oppressive, drenching the land in a malicious aura that made even the bravest tremble.
This presence demon has appeared.
The demon sealers instantly recognized the presence of a demon and prepared for their appearance. 2101 An unknown demon emperor. Sensing the demonic presence, Zhou Yanfei turned to Yanhara and said grimly.
We'll continue this conversation later.
Without another word, his gaze shifted toward the middle of the battlefield, where a shadowy figure had emerged out of thin air. Once its form came into focus, the figure revealed itself to be a gray-skinned demon, its body devoid of any visible crystal, a clear indication that it was at least a demon general.
Quickly, seal it.
Several demon sealers shouted in panic, instinctively rushing forward to subdue the threat.
Don't be reckless.
Zhou Yanfei warned sharply, but his voice came a second too late.
Foolish livestock.
The demon sneered with contempt, its voice laced with cruel amusement. In the very next instant, a wave of oppressive force erupted from its body, followed by a thunderous explosion. The surrounding demon sealers were instantly reduced to a mist of blood and flesh, their death so sudden and brutal that it left the battlefield in stunned silence.
That level of prowess. It has to be a demon emperor.
Yanhara exclaimed. Unfortunately, she'd already exhausted herself, and it would take some time before she could recover and help. Yet, she wasn't too worried, since the divine paragon himself was present. Yuan turned his focus onto the demon with narrowed eyes.
A demon emperor?
He muttered under his breath. Yet, its presence was unfamiliar. 3 demon emperors had once escaped with their lives, and he'd slain one not long ago. That should have left only 2, both of whom he could recognize without fail. So who was this one? Did a new one emerge? Yuan pondered silently. But with the demon realm sealed, no new demons should have appeared. That could only mean one thing: this one had ascended to the rank of demon emperor after the demon realm was sealed. However, an evolution of that magnitude would demand a tremendous amount of time, countless sacrifices, and opportunities that should have long vanished with the end of the demonic era.
How dare you call us foolish?
Zhou Yanfei stepped forward, unshaken by its overwhelming pressure.
You may be a demon emperor, but this is the heart of the demon sealing grotto. Not even you can deal with all of us alone.
The demon emperor let out a low, mocking laugh.
Who said anything about being alone?
It clapped its hands once, softly. A moment later, the space around them twisted. One after another, dark silhouettes emerged from the shadows, their auras vile and suffocating. In mere moments, hundreds of demons of varying ranks blanketed the horizon, encircling the demon sealing grotto. The expressions of the demon sealers darkened. In an instant, the tides had turned. The sheer number of demons was overwhelming, enough to threaten even the demon sealing grotto. The demon emperor spoke a moment later.
Honestly, we weren't planning on making an appearance. However, something peculiar had forced our hands.
Its gaze shifted to Yanhara. Then, it continued with narrowed eyes.
The divine paragon's legacy, you say? That won't do. We cannot allow you to live now that we know you have inherited that vermin's techniques.
Realizing the demon's true intent, Zhou Yanfei roared with urgency.
Demon Sealing Grotto. Protect Demon Sealer Yanhara at all costs. We cannot allow the divine paragon's legacy to vanish a second time.
Despite Yanhara belonging to the Demon Sealing clan, their long-standing rival, the Demon Sealers of the Grotto did not hesitate. In that moment, they understood, the divine paragon's legacy transcended all grudges. Even if it had been Chenshu standing in her place, they would still decide to protect him. The Demon Emperor raised his hand and pointed at Yanhara, his voice eerily calm as he uttered a single command.
Kill them all.
In the blink of an eye, chaos erupted. Demons and demon sealers clashed, painting the battlefield in blood and fury, a scene common in the demonic era but unseen for countless years since then. By now, every demon sealer within the demon sealing grotto had joined the battle, their auras clashing violently with the demonic horde. Yuan, too, prepared to step into the fray, but his movements abruptly stopped as he sensed a strange disturbance. His gaze instinctively shifted toward the portal leading into the grotto's headquarters, and just as his attention settled, he caught sight of a lone figure slipping through its entrance. Typically, such a scene would warrant no suspicion, but this individual was cloaked in a technique that concealed their presence. While not as flawless as Shadow Veil, it came close. Amidst the chaos of battle, even seasoned experts would have easily overlooked it. Without hesitation, Yuan activated Shadow Veil and chased after the individual into the demon sealing grotto's headquarters. However, before doing so, he warned Yanhara using voice transmission.
I'm going to investigate something real quick, so you'll have to deal with these demons without me for a bit. What?
Yanhara cried out, her voice sharp with alarm.
What's wrong, Yanhara?
Zhou Yanfei immediately turned to her, eyes narrowing.
And nothing.
She quickly shook her head, forcing a calm facade, but the flicker of worry in her eyes betrayed her.
I'm almost ready to fight again,
she said a moment later as she consumed several more recovery pills. Meanwhile, after stepping through the portal, Yuan continued following the mysterious figure, taking the opportunity to scrutinize his appearance. He had already memorized the faces of every demon sealing grotto member present on the battlefield, yet this man was unfamiliar. This individual appeared to be a young man with a nondescript face, so ordinary that one's gaze would naturally pass over him. Yet beneath that unremarkable exterior, his eyes shone with purpose. Since nearly all members of the demon sealing grotto had left the headquarters to battle the invading demons, the city was left desolate, allowing the young man to move about unhindered and without concern. Eventually, they stopped before a massive structure at the heart of the city. Yuan didn't recognize the building, and unbeknownst to him, it was the demon sealing grotto's vault, where their most precious treasures were kept. Congratulations. 2,102 traitors. Although the majority of the demon sealers had departed to confront the demon invasion outside, the vault was not left unguarded. 7 guards remained stationed before it, each one a true immortal, their auras sharp and unwavering, ready to act at a moment's notice. Yuan silently observed the young man, waiting to see his next move. Yet, the figure remained completely still, as though he had no intention of acting. However, just moments later, Yuan sensed multiple presences rapidly converging on their location. In the blink of an eye, 20 experts clad in the robes of the demon sealing grotto emerged. Without a word or moment's hesitation, they launched a coordinated assault on the 7 guards, swiftly overwhelming them with ruthless precision.
Demon Sealer Jing, Demon Sealer Yun, what the hell are you doing? Why are you attacking us?
The guards cried out in disbelief, their voices filled with confusion and betrayal. They recognized the assailants, not as strangers, but as comrades, even close friends. Yet now, those familiar faces bore only cold indifference as they struck with lethal intent. In fact, even Yuan recognized a few of these individuals, as they were present at the meeting where most of the higher-ups were present. When questioned by the guards, the traitorous demon sealers didn't utter a single word in response. Instead, they pressed forward with unwavering killing intent. Although Yuan wanted to remain hidden, he couldn't let these demon sealers die a pointless death, so he revealed his presence to protect them.
You're Yanhara's disciple.
The traitors recognized Yuan instantly. The young man's gaze sharpened as it fell upon Yuan. A flicker of unease surfaced within him, he hadn't sensed Yuan's presence at all until the latter chose to reveal himself. Was this an unfortunate coincidence, or had he been followed all along? That uncertainty gnawed at him.
What the hell are you doing here? You were fighting the demons just moments ago.
One of the traitors shouted, clearly shaken by Yuan's sudden appearance. Yuan smiled calmly and responded.
I could ask you the same thing. What the hell are you doing here, turning your blades on your own comrades while demons and worshippers tear through the city outside? I sensed something wasn't right, so I came to see for myself. Looks like my instincts were spot on.
He deliberately refrained from mentioning the presence of the young man, careful not to startle his true target.
You're just a silver immortal. Do you really think you can take on 20 golden immortals and true immortals alone? Perhaps. Kill him.
In the very next moment, the 20 demon sealers launched themselves at Yuan, their attacks fierce and full of killing intent. Meanwhile, the young man seized the opportunity amidst the chaos, silently slipping past the fray and into the building. Naturally, Yuan noticed him, as he hadn't taken his attention off him for even a second. However, he made no move to stop him. Instead, he feigned ignorance and continued exchanging blows with the traitorous demon sealers, deliberately holding back his strength to avoid ending the skirmish too quickly. Once inside the building, the young man made his way directly to the vault, a towering structure layered with intricate and powerful formations. Each one pulsed faintly with energy, silently guarding the priceless treasures within. But the young man came prepared. Without hesitation, he retrieved several scrolls and talismans from his spatial ring, each one meticulously crafted to counter and disable the specific formations protecting the vault. Within minutes, he deactivated all of the formations, allowing him to open and enter the vault. Stepping inside, he was greeted by a grand hall lined with countless treasures, rare artifacts, ancient scrolls, and radiant crystals stacked in meticulous order. Yet, he spared them not a single glance. Without slowing down, he dashed past the wealth of the demon sealing grotto, heading straight toward the far end of the vault with unwavering purpose. Eventually, he came to a halt before two treasures placed at the very end, both sealed behind layers of intricate formations, far more elaborate than anything else in the vault.
Finally,
he muttered in excitement. Meanwhile, Yuan continued to gradually thin the traitor's numbers.
Fuck, why is he so damn powerful? It doesn't make any sense.
The traitors soon realized that they stood no chance against him. Yuan then said calmly,
I'm willing to spare your lives if you tell me why you betrayed the demon sealing grotto. What are you trying to achieve? Go fuck yourself.
One of them spat. Without a word, Yuan glanced at the man, and in the blink of an eye, unleashed his supreme sword aura. The strike was so swift and precise that none of the others realized what had happened until the man's head hit the ground with a dull thud.
If the next words out of your mouth aren't related to the truth, I'll send your head flying. No, perhaps sealing you would be better, letting you spend thousands of years in utter stillness.
Before any of the traitors could respond, Yuan released a wave of demon sealing aura, just enough to partially seal the remaining 7. Terror filled their faces, but none of them dared to speak a single word.
Since none of you are willing to speak, why don't I take a guess?
Yuan closed his eyes briefly, as though piecing together a puzzle, before continuing.
You attacked this place right as chaos erupted outside, and real coincidences are rare, especially in this circumstance, which means this was planned, coordinated. You're working with the demons and their worshippers out there. I doubt the demon sealing grotto would conspire with demons, which only leaves one conclusion. You're not really members of the demon sealing grotto, but spies from the demon sealing clan, or perhaps another faction entirely.
The traitor's eyes widened with disbelief after hearing Yuan's speculation. Yuan narrowed his eyes at them and asked,
Did Chenshu send you here? Chenshu, the leader of the demon sealing clan? Yeah, that's right. We're working for him. What are you going to do now that you know the truth, huh?
One of them suddenly laughed out loud. Although one of the traitors confessed to working for Chenshu, Yuan didn't believe it so easily. The admission came too quickly, and the man's tone felt more like an attempt to shift the blame onto Chenshu rather than a genuine confession.
Oh, is that so? Then why don't you tell me a little more about your plans?
Yuan said as he calmly stepped forward, stopping directly before the half-sealed traitor.
That's...
The man faltered, his eyes darting in panic. In the next instant, a profound aura erupted from Yuan, and man became fully sealed within seconds.
No. Spare. So, anyone else feel like talking?
Yuan spoke again after sealing the man, his voice was calm, almost casual.
If you think silence will spare you, think again. I'll seal each of you, one by one, until someone decides to speak or there is no one left.
He paced slowly in front of the petrified traitors, his footsteps echoing loudly amidst the silent atmosphere. They trembled in fear, eyes wide with desperation, but they couldn't flee, as over half of their bodies already turned to stone.
I will speak.
One of them suddenly shouted. The others instantly snapped their heads to look at him, but none of them tried to stop him.
We're working for the...
Before the man could even finish his sentence, he abruptly halted his words. His eyes bulged, and his face turned an unnatural shade of crimson. Then, without warning, his head swelled like a balloon, before violently bursting with a sickening pop, splattering his blood and brain in every direction. Yuan calmly shielded himself with a thin veil of spiritual energy, letting the mess slide harmlessly off him. The others, however, weren't so fortunate. With their danshan sealed and spiritual energy inaccessible, they could only stand there helplessly as the gore splashed across their faces, staining them in silence.
I see.
Yuan muttered afterward.
Looks like we'll have to postpone the interrogation for later.
Without giving the traitors another chance to speak, Yuan sealed them all in an instant before turning away and entering the building to resume his pursuit of the young man. Inside the vault, the young man was still working to dismantle the final layers of protection surrounding the two treasures. Oddly, the formations guarding them were even more intricate and powerful than those protecting the vault itself. Eventually, after a tremendous amount of effort, the young man was finally able to remove the final protection on the two treasures, allowing him to acquire them. However, right as the young man prepared to seize the treasures, a voice resounded in the vault, halting his movements.
So you invaded the demon sealing grotto with demons just to get your hands on those 2 treasures?
Despite being discovered, the young man turned around slowly, his movements calm and composed, as though entirely unfazed by his exposure. His nonchalant gaze stopped at Yuan as he asked,
What happened to the demon sealers outside? I killed them all.
Yuan calmly lied.
What a pity. It was quite expensive raising them.
Responded the young man.
So, who are you, and what are you trying to achieve with those treasures? You're clearly working with the demons, so you shouldn't have any use for them. That's none of your business. Though if you join us, I'll let you in on the fun. You seem pretty talented, and it'd be a waste to kill you here. Kill me? Even though you're only a golden immortal, and I've just killed 20 of them, including some true immortals?
Yuan chuckled.
Only a golden immortal? Look again.
The young man suddenly unleashed his true cultivation, soaring to the peak of the 4th level of God Ascension realm.
How scary.
Yuan said in a sarcastic tone. He continued.
If you're going to invite someone to something, you should at the very least let them know what they're getting into. Do you take me for a fool?
The young man sneered in disdain.
What are you afraid of? You are clearly very confident in being able to kill me. And you are clearly very confident that you won't die.
Said the young man. Yuan shrugged.
You got me.
Yuan advanced toward the young man, yet his gaze bypassed him entirely, drawn instead to the 2 treasures that hovered silently in the space beyond.
The demon sealing scroll and the demon sealing talisman, 2 of the 3 demon sealing treasures once owned by the divine paragon. Do you even have the capability to wield them?
The 2 treasures the young man was attempting to steal were none other than the demon sealing scroll and the demon sealing talisman, artifacts the demon sealing grotto had obtained from the demon sealing clan. The 3rd treasure, the demon sealing flag, remained in Chenshu's possession.
Unless you plan to use them against the demons outside, don't even think about taking them.
Yuan said, halting a few meters away. The young man sneered and seized both treasures without hesitation.
Are you going to stop me? I'd love to see you try.
He said with a mocking laugh.
I don't even need to lay a finger on you.
Yuan said with a shake of his head. As he released a sliver of his demon sealing aura, the 2 treasures in the young man's grasp began to tremble, resonating as if responding to a familiar master.
What?
The young man recoiled in shock as the treasures trembled violently, causing him to release them without thinking. Freed from his grasp, the 2 artifacts shot through the air and landed squarely in Yuan's hands.
Who the hell are you?
The young man roared, demanding an answer.
Just an ordinary, elite demon sealer.
Yuan replied calmly.
Don't give me that crap.
The young man snarled, then lunged forward with outstretched, claw-like hands, aiming straight for the treasures in Yuan's grasp in a desperate attempt to reclaim them.
Are you Chenshu?
Yuan asked suddenly, bringing the young man's movements to an abrupt halt. Congratulations, you have finished listening to the current content. Congrats. 2104 Chenshu. After hearing Yuan utter the name Chenshu, the young man stopped moving, even standing up straight to face Yuan.
Chenshu, you say? What makes you think I am him?
The young man questioned.
I was just trying my luck. If you're not Chenshu, who are you? I'll give you one of the demon sealing treasures if you tell me. What kind of nonsense is that? Do you really expect me to believe you?
Yuan smiled and said.
No, but even if I give you the demon sealing treasure, you won't be able to control it, and I will eventually reclaim it. Enough of this nonsense. Hand over the demon sealing treasures. This is my last warning.
The young man shouted.
I refuse.
The moment Yuan declined, the young man exploded with killing intent and pounced at him again.
Sorry, but I don't have the time to play with you, as there are demons waiting for me outside. I don't know who you are, but you're clearly not on our side.
Yuan stopped caring about the young man's identity and began fighting him seriously, even using celestial chi with Yu Ning's assistance. How the hell is he using celestial chi as a golden immortal? The young man cried inwardly. He initially thought Yuan was also hiding his cultivation, but as they continued fighting, he was convinced that Yuan was only a golden immortal.
Looks like I will need more than just celestial chi to kill you, huh?
Yuan suddenly muttered. Then, his body suddenly surged with a chaotic energy that resembled demonic energy, greatly shocking the young man.
You were a demon this whole time?
The young man exclaimed as he distanced himself from Yuan, mistaking his chaotic essence as demonic energy.
Who knows?
Yuan calmly shrugged.
But let's say that I am a demon. What are you going to do about it?
The young man clenched his teeth, his eyes flickering with hesitation. After a brief silence, he reached into his spatial ring and retrieved a familiar treasure. From his spatial ring, the young man drew a red flag affixed to a black rod. Then, he pointed it at Yuan and shouted.
Seal.
The treasure, none other than the demon sealing flag, the third of the demon sealing treasures, shot toward Yuan, its crimson fabric unfurling midair before coiling tightly around him.
So, you were Chenshu all along.
Yuan said calmly, even as the flag tightened its grip around him. Now that his identity had been exposed, the young man shed his disguise, revealing his true appearance, and Yuan instantly recognized him as Chenshu.
I heard you left the Demon Sealing clan for some mysterious business. Who would have thought that business was stealing from the Demon Sealing Grotto, while working for the demons? Working for the demons? You're wrong.
Chenshu said.
Oh, then enlighten me. I'm not working for the demons. They're working for me.
Chenshu calmly revealed. Yuan narrowed his eyes and continued.
One of the traitors died the moment he tried to reveal the truth to me. But another admitted working for you, and nothing happened. Why?
Chenshu chuckled.
Simple. They think they're serving the demons, when in truth, they're serving me. I see, so they don't realize you're the true mastermind.
Yuan muttered.
You've asked enough questions. Now it's my turn.
Chenshu said coldly.
Why is a demon like you helping the Demon Sealing Grotto? I've never heard of a demon working with demon sealers.
Since Chenshu had misunderstood the situation, Yuan chose to play along.
So humans can work with demons, but demons can't do the same?
He replied with a faint smirk.
I have my own reasons. How can a demon like you wield demon sealing aura?
Chenshu continued to ask.
I'm also trying to figure that out since I was suddenly able to use it one day.
Chenshu narrowed his eyes at Yuan.
Are you really a demon?
He asked, suspicion still lingering in his voice. Although chaotic essence bore a strong resemblance to demonic energy, it wasn't the same. But having never encountered chaotic essence before, Chenshu couldn't discern the difference. Of course, he could tell that Yuan's energy was different from ordinary demonic energy, but he chalked it up to Yuan being a special kind of demon, one capable of wielding demon sealing aura.
Maybe I am. Maybe I am not.
Yuan responded after a moment of silence. After another moment of silence, Chenshu finally spoke.
Why don't you work for me instead? I'll help you achieve whatever goal you have.
Yuan smiled and said.
My goal is to unseal the demon realm and take revenge against those who toss me out like trash.
Chenshu didn't appear to be surprised in the slightest and responded with a smile.
You and I have a similar purpose. I am already preparing to unseal the demon realm. Serve me, and I will make sure you return to the demon realm. Not only that, but I can even help you improve your power as a demon.
Yuan then said.
So, you're the one behind that demon emperor outside.
Chenshu silently nodded.
Very well. In that case, let's work together.
Yuan said after pretending to ponder for a moment.
You won't regret it.
Chenshu released him the very next moment.
So what do you want me to do?
Yuan then asked.
For starters, hand over the demon sealing treasures to me. Sure.
Yuan casually handed the demon sealing scroll and the demon sealing talisman to Chenshu. With a satisfied look on his face, Chenshu continued.
I want you to continue assisting the demon sealers in secret.
He then handed Yuan a black jade slip and said.
Come find me at this location in 20 years. You can do whatever in the meantime. If you dare to betray me, you'll regret it. Will you return to the demon sealing clan after this?
Yuan asked him.
We'll see.
Chenshu said before leaving the vault. 2,105 stolen treasures. Once Chenshu left the vault, Feng Yuxiang questioned Yuan's decision to let him go so easily.
Young master, are you really going to let him go that easily?
She asked, her voice laced with worry.
You even handed over 2 of your treasures. What if he goes on a rampage? Even if he doesn't, he'll surely stir chaos with the demons under his command. I don't have the strength to kill Chenshu right now.
Yuan replied calmly.
And even if I did, it wouldn't stop the demons. In fact, they're likely to go on a rampage without someone to command them.
He then glanced at his hands before continuing.
As for the 2 demon sealing treasures, I've already re-established our bond. He won't be able to use them, no matter what he tries. The same goes for the demon sealing flag. That said, I've allowed him limited control, for now, so he won't immediately suspect anything. Not only that, but they serve as a tracking device, allowing me to track his movements. I see.
Feng Yuxiang mumbled.
The demon realm, looks like I won't have to open the seal myself, which will save me a lot of headaches. That man mentioned having a similar goal as you. Do you know what that is about?
Yu Ning asked. Yuan smiled and said.
Yes, I do. I learned a lot from our encounter, including his true identity. His true identity? So he's a demon in disguise? No, he's not a demon, but he's no human, either. It's a bit complicated. You'll understand once I return to the demon realm. Okay.
Some time later, Yuan emerged from the vault and returned to the battlefield, where Yanhara and the demon sealing grotto were still locked in combat with the demons. At first glance, the demon sealers appeared to have the upper hand, but only marginally, with heavy casualties scattered across the field.
Sorry for the delay. I'm back.
Yuan said to Yanhara using voice transmission.
Thank the Lord.
She exclaimed in excitement. However, just as Yuan prepared to unleash his demon sealing aura, the demons halted their movements. The next moment, they turned around and began fleeing in every direction, including the demon worshippers.
The demons are retreating. Don't let them escape.
Zhou Yanfei shouted upon seeing the fleeing enemy. The demon sealers gave chase without hesitation, but fatigue weighed heavily on them after the battle, while the demons, fueled by endless spiritual energy, moved with undiminished strength. Eventually, the demon sealers halted their pursuit, unwilling to risk venturing too far in case more demons were lying in wait. Besides, they had already captured numerous demon worshippers, and among them, a black-masked worshipper. Moreover, Zhou Yanfei had received news that someone had broken into their vault. Hearing this, he instantly returned to the city with several of their top demon sealers.
Yanhara, come with me. We still have a lot to talk about.
Zhou Yanfei didn't forget to remind her of their business before leaving. Although reluctant, Yanhara followed them back to the city. Of course, Yuan was with them.
Some bastard broke into our vault while we were distracted by the invasion.
Zhou Yanfei revealed to Yanhara as they traveled.
What?
Yanhara's eyes widened upon hearing this surprising information.
The invasion had only lasted several hours. How did someone manage to break into the vault in such little time?
She asked.
We don't know, but we'll definitely catch that bastard. What was stolen?
She asked. Zhou Yanfei remained silent, not out of reluctance, but uncertainty. In truth, he didn't know. The guards had contacted him the moment they discovered the vault had been opened, and none of them had dared to step inside without his presence.
We'll find out soon enough,
he said a moment later. However, just as they reached their destination, Yuan spoke.
I know it was stolen. What?
Zhou Yanfei and the others halted their movements to look at him.
Why in heaven's name would you know that unless you entered the vault? Because I was inside the vault.
Yuan calmly admitted.
You better have a damn good explanation.
Zhou Yanfei's body surged with killing intent.
And you better step back.
Yanhara immediately stepped in front of Zhou Yanfei, blocking his path.
If you want any information about the divine paragon's legacy, you'd better not lay a finger on him. At least let him finish speaking.
Zhou Yanfei gritted his teeth, fists clenched with suppressed fury. After a tense moment, he slowly relaxed his grip and withdrew his killing intent, though not entirely.
I noticed someone with a hidden presence sneaking into the city, so I followed him. During my chase, I noticed the guards being attacked by members of the demon sealing grotto. Fucking bullshit.
Zhou Yanfei interrupted with a booming voice.
Do you really expect me to believe? It's true.
One of the guards suddenly stepped forward, interrupting Zhou Yanfei.
We were attacked by Demon Sealer Jing, Demon Sealer Yun, as well as several other high-ranking members. If it weren't for the savior, we would have died today.
Before Zhou Yanfei could speak, another guard stepped forward and said.
I vouch for his words. Me too. I will also vouch for him.
All of the guards saved by Yuan stepped forward to vouch for him.
That's...
Zhou Yanfei was speechless. Then, Yuan pointed at the sealed figures standing not too far away and said.
I even sealed them, so you can interrogate them later. No need to thank me. What was stolen from our vault?
Zhou Yanfei asked in an anxious voice. Yuan shrugged and said.
I don't know, but it was located at the very end of the vault. No, it can't be.
Zhou Yanfei and the other demon sealers reacted with alarm, interrupting Yuan before he could even finish his sentence. Without another word, they bolted into the vault. Inside, they passed by the treasures near the entrance without so much as a glance, ignoring even the ones further in, until they reached the far end of the room, where two display pedestals now stood empty. Upon confirming their worst nightmare, Zhou Yanfei and the other demon sealers dropped to their knees, their faces pale with shock and despair. 2106 Stolen Treasures, 2. Seeing Zhou Yanfei and the other demon sealers kneeling on the floor, their faces twisted in grief as if they had just witnessed the slaughter of their entire families, Yuan spoke.
By the time I defeated the traitors and reached the vault, the treasures were already gone. I'm sorry.
None of the demon sealers responded.
Though I did encounter the thief, who was on his way out. He was at the 4th level of God Ascension, so there was nothing I could have done to stop him.
Yuan added. Upon hearing this, Zhou Yanfei slowly turned to face Yuan, his eyes narrowing sharply.
You encountered the thief and survived? No, something's not right. You don't even look injured, not in the slightest. It's almost as if he let you go without even trying to kill you.
He paused, voice hardening.
No thief in their right mind would go through all that trouble to infiltrate our vault, only to leave an eyewitness behind. That's...
Before Yuan could say another word, Zhou Yanfei suddenly lunged from his kneeling position, his hand shooting toward Yuan's throat, overflowing with uncontrolled killing intent.
You!
His actions were too sudden, and Yanhara failed to react in time. By the time she even realized what was happening, Zhou Yanfei's fingers were already at Yuan's neck. As for Yuan, he stood still, almost as if he also failed to react. However, his eyes were following Zhou Yanfei's movements perfectly. It wasn't that he couldn't react. He simply didn't move on purpose so Zhou Yanfei could hit him. In the very next instant, Zhou Yanfei's hand reached Yuan's neck, fingers tightening as if to rip his throat out. But just as he made contact, his movements froze. However, it wasn't because Zhou Yanfei had a change of heart, or that he'd suddenly snapped out of his subconscious assault.
What in heaven's name?
Zhou Yanfei muttered, staring at his hands frozen around Yuan's neck, eyes wide with disbelief and confusion. Despite pouring nearly all of his strength into the strike, he couldn't harm Yuan in the slightest. In fact, it felt as if his fingers had slammed into solid diamond. Zhou Yanfei was currently at the 3rd level of God Ascension, and even though he didn't use celestial chi in his strike, it should have been more than enough to slaughter a golden immortal like Yuan with extreme ease. Yet, he couldn't even damage the skin on Yuan's body, much less kill him. Yuan released a soft sigh before speaking.
You should really let people finish their sentences. You old bastard. What do you think you're doing?
Yanhara kicked Zhou Yanfei in the face right as he opened his mouth, sending him flying into the empty treasure pedestal.
Master Zhou, leader.
The demon sealers exclaimed in shock after seeing their leader sent flying.
I am okay.
Since Yanhara only used her natural strength, Zhou Yanfei only sustained minimal injuries.
Anyway, as I was going to say, while the thief tried to kill me, he simply didn't have the capability and not wanting to risk being captured. He fled after failing to kill me for a few minutes.
Yuan said a moment later.
What the hell is your body made of?
Zhou Yanfei asked after a long moment of silence.
The same things as most normal people. Flesh and bone. An ordinary person wouldn't be able to escape unscathed after being attacked by a God Ascension cultivator, while only being an immortal.
Yuan casually shrugged. Yanhara then spoke.
What the hell was even stolen for you to have acted like that?
Zhou Yanfei's face darkened after being reminded of the stolen treasures, and with great difficulty, responded.
The demon sealing scroll and the demon sealing talisman. What?
Yanhara screamed, her voice so sharp it nearly pierced their eardrums upon hearing the names of the stolen treasures.
The demon sealing scroll and the demon sealing talisman? Aren't those the divine paragon's treasures?
Yuan asked, pretending to be ignorant.
Precisely.
Confirmed Zhou Yanfei. Snapping out of her daze, Yanhara stormed over to Zhou Yanfei, seized him by the collar, and began shaking him violently.
Precisely, my ass.
She shouted.
How the hell could you let the divine paragon's treasures be stolen?
Zhou Yanfei slapped her hands off him and shouted back.
Do you think I want them to be stolen? We locked them in formations that were even stronger than the ones protecting the entire vault. That doesn't say much when your vault was cracked this easily. Let's stop this pointless argument and try to figure out a solution.
One of the demon sealers suddenly said. He turned to look at Yuan and asked.
Do you have a description of the thief? Any information about him is fine.
Yuan immediately recalled all of the thief's features, everything from his ordinary facial features to his foot size.
What about his techniques? Did you notice anything when he tried to kill you?
Yuan pondered for a moment before responding.
No, he didn't use any techniques on me and try to kill me with brute force. I understand. Since it's essentially impossible to find him with this little information, we'll have to interrogate the demon worshippers we captured, as well as the traitors. Master Zhou, please get yourself together. 2 of the divine paragon's treasures were stolen. We don't have the time or energy to waste on bickering.
Surprisingly, the demon sealers lectured him. Even more surprisingly, Zhou Yanfei wasn't offended by it and even thanked them.
You're right. My apologies. I acted in a manner unworthy of my position.
Once he had regained his composure, Zhou Yanfei turned to Yanhara and said.
I will take full responsibility for this incident. An investigation will begin immediately. I hope you'll consider staying a while longer, but if you choose to leave now, I won't stop you.
Yanhara looked at Yuan, who nodded and said.
I have a few months. Then I will also stay.
Yanhara said afterward. 2107 Stolen Treasures, 3.
It won't take a few months. I will contact you within a week or two,
said Zhou Yanfei. He turned to look at a certain demon sealer and said to her.
Bring them to our best guest quarters.
Thus, Yuan and Yanhara were brought out of the vault and to their guest houses. Once they were alone, Yuan said.
I have something to tell you. Come with me.
Yanhara nodded her head and quietly followed him to his house.
Yuning, can you put a sound barrier around us to prevent eavesdropping?
Yuan asked her upon entering the living room.
Sure.
Yuning took control of Yuan's body for a brief moment to create the formation.
A sound barrier?
Yanhara stared at him with raised eyebrows. Sometime later, Yuan sat down on a chair and gestured for Yanhara to do the same.
Is this about how we're going to reveal the divine paragons, your legacy?
Yanhara asked as she took a seat directly in front of him.
No, this is about the thief who stole the demon sealing treasures. I will get straight to the point. The treasures weren't stolen, at least not technically. What?
Yanhara wore a confused expression on her face.
I could have prevented the treasures from being stolen, but I willingly gave them to the thief. You what?
Yanhara exclaimed in shock. Yuan continued.
And that thief was actually Chenshu. Chenshu.
Yanhara stood from her seat, her eyes and mouth wide with disbelief.
That's impossible,
she declared a second later.
Impossible? Why would you say that?
Yuan asked, raising an eyebrow.
Because we've had people monitoring Chenshu ever since he left on that so-called business.
Yanhara replied firmly.
Right now, he's supposed to be in the ninth heaven, and he hasn't left that place in years. If he had, I would have been informed immediately. There are countless ways to slip past surveillance, especially if he knows he's being watched.
Yuan said, shaking his head.
Then why are you so certain it was Chenshu?
Yanhara asked.
What if someone is trying to frame him? Because he had the demon sealing flag with him.
Yuan replied. Yanhara drew in a sharp breath upon hearing those words.
Of course, it's not irrefutable evidence.
Yuan continued.
But I'm certain that it was Chenshu. If you say so.
Yanhara muttered after a brief silence.
But why would you give him the demon sealing treasures in the first place? 2 reasons.
Yuan replied calmly.
First, I can use them to track his movements. Second, it gives him the illusion that he's making progress toward his goal. I still don't know exactly why he needs the treasures, but it doesn't matter. He can't use them properly. I've already re-established full control the moment I touched them. Then do you know his goal?
Yanhara then asked. Yuan nodded and revealed.
He's trying to break the seal on the demon realm.
Yanhara wanted to be shocked, expected to be, but for some reason, the words didn't surprise her at all. It was as if, deep down, she had already suspected it.
So, he's a demon disguised as a human? Why does he know demon sealing aura? I thought demons couldn't use it.
Yanhara asked a moment later.
No, he's not a demon, but he's not a human either. I won't explain it now, since I want you to see it for yourself. I don't understand.
Yuan looked into her eyes and said calmly.
I intend to bring you with me when I go to the demon realm. And me, to the demon realm?
Yanhara exclaimed, stumbling backward in shock. She collided with the chair behind her and toppled over, landing hard on the floor. Yanhara quickly got back up, but she didn't fully stand on her feet.
You must be messing with me. Why would you bring me to such a dangerous place that's crawling with demons? I'm not you. I won't last a minute in there,
she said with teary eyes.
If you're going to be the leader of the demon sealing clan in the future, I want you to know everything about demons, including how they come into existence and the truth.
Yuan spoke with a solemn expression.
You were serious about making me the leader? What about you? The others won't accept me once they learn that the divine paragon has returned.
Yuan smiled and said.
The divine paragon? He died in the demon era. Even if you say that.
Yanhara sighed.
I have much more important things to do than managing the demon sealing clan. I've already decided to make you my successor, so don't try to convince me.
Yanhara sighed again, this time with more force.
Understand. So, what are we going to do about Chenshu? Let me tell you the full story first.
Yuan then recounted everything that had transpired between him and Chenshu, including how Chenshu had mistaken him for a demon, and how he had used that misunderstanding and the demon sealing treasures to gain Chenshu's trust and begin working alongside him.
I'll continue monitoring Chenshu and let you know if anything unusual happens. In the meantime, keep watching him on your end as well, just enough so he doesn't grow suspicious.
Yanhara nodded.
As for the demon realm, I'll let Chenshu open it for me. Okay, now, let's discuss how we're going to present the divine paragon's legacy in a way that brings the demon sealing grotto to our side.
Meanwhile, the demon sealing grotto turned its attention to handling the aftermath of the invasion. After confirming that nothing else had been stolen from the vault aside from the 2 demons sealing treasures, they began interrogating the captured traitors and demon worshippers. Having been warned by Yuan that the traitors were cursed to die if they revealed anything, the demon sealers entered the interrogation fully prepared. As for the city, since only the outer city had been destroyed, its restoration was postponed until the more pressing matters were addressed. 2108 Selfish. Armed with the knowledge that the traitors were cursed, the demon sealing grotto wasted no time in forcefully extracting their memories to uncover the truth, even if it meant crippling or killing them in the process. However, even after forcefully extracting their memories, the demon sealing grotto found themselves empty-handed. The traitors had been afflicted with 2 powerful curses, one that prevented them from speaking the truth and another that blocked any attempt to delve into their memories. The moment the demon sealing grotto tried to extract their memories, their dantian were forcefully destroyed, turning them into powerful bombs. Unable to make further progress, the demon sealing grotto decided to suspend the traitors' interrogation until a method to bypass the curses could be found. Ordinarily, this would require the assistance of a curse expert. However, experts in curses are exceedingly rare. Few dare to tread such a dangerous path, one notorious for its high mortality rate and unforgiving nature. As for the demon worshippers, the demon sealing grotto managed to uncover some results. As they had suspected, the red-masked individuals were innocent people who had been forcibly made to consume demon blood. The corrupting influence weakened their mental state, making it far easier for the true demon worshippers to seize control of their minds. Unfortunately, there was no known cure for those who had succumbed to demon blood. Its corrupting influence often drove victims to madness, making them dangerously unstable and violently aggressive. Thus, the demon sealing grotto made the painful decision to execute all of them, a final act of mercy for those beyond saving. As for the black-masked demon worshipper they had captured, he was subjected to relentless torture and interrogation. Until then, the demon sealing grotto had no lead on the thief who stole their treasures other than the information given to them by Yuan. After 2 whole weeks, Zhou Yanfei approached Yanhara with information on their progress of the situation.
If handling this alone is too much, why not request help from the demon sealing clan?
Yanhara suggested.
Ask the demon sealing clan for help.
Zhou Yanfei scoffed, his tone laced with disdain.
What a joke. What makes you think they can do anything? They're barely holding themselves together. What could they possibly offer us? Unlike the demon sealing grotto, which specializes solely in demon sealers, the demon sealing clan is far more versatile.
Yanhara replied.
While we may currently fall short in demon sealing expertise, our strength lies in broader experience beyond that field. Even if that's true, have you forgotten we're at war?
Zhou Yanfei snapped.
You wanted to ask my enemy for help? That's just begging to be stabbed in the back, just like they did during the Supreme Demon Sealer qualifications.
Yanhara shook her head and sighed.
How many times do we have to have this conversation? You're at war with Chenshu and his faction, not the rest of the demon sealing clan. Also, if I were you, I'd be more worried about being backstabbed by my own people. What are you going to do if there are more traitors within the demon sealing grotto?
Zhou Yanfei gritted his teeth and clenched his fists in frustration, the reminder of possibly more traitors within the demon sealing grotto weighing heavily on him. After a moment of heavy silence, he finally spoke.
The demon sealing grotto is already taking steps to address the possibility of more traitors. Since every exposed traitor was marked with curses, we can simply check everyone for them.
Yanhara raised an eyebrow at his solution and said.
That's easier said than done. That's why we're going to ask the Master of Curses for his assistance. He's probably the only expert in the world who can deal with this level of curses. We also can't touch the traitors we already caught since we are powerless against their curses.
Yuan then spoke.
Regarding that, I have a way of dealing with the curses. You do.
Zhou Yanfei looked at him with wide eyes filled with disbelief. Yuan confirmed.
I can remove their curses. Then we must immediately... That can wait. Let's talk about the reason you're here today first.
Zhou Yanfei fell silent, but he didn't disagree.
All right, then let's talk about the Divine Paragon's legacy.
He turned to face Yanhara with a solemn expression and continued.
Since there may still be traitors within the Demon Sealing Grotto, only I will be present in this conversation, so you don't have to worry about revealing information to the enemy. I appreciate your consideration.
Yanhara said in a somewhat sarcastic tone. The room fell silent once more before Zhou Yanfei broke the stillness, his voice heavy with doubt.
Did you truly obtain the Divine Paragon's legacy? Or is this just some elaborate trick? Why don't you tell me?
Yanhara replied calmly. Without another word, she began to display the Divine Paragon's demon sealing techniques one after another, each one unmistakable. They were techniques well documented in their records, yet lost to history ever since the Divine Paragon's disappearance.
Demon Sealing Zone. Swords of Eternal Torment.
Zhou Yanfei fell to his knees after witnessing the demon sealing techniques one after another, his eyes and mouth agape with shock and disbelief.
How did you obtain the Divine Paragon's legacy?
He cried, crawling toward her on his knees, his voice filled with desperation as he begged for an answer.
Sorry, but I cannot disclose that information.
Yanhara responded in an adamant tone.
Do you really intend to keep these techniques all to yourself?
Zhou Yanfei roared, rising to his feet in anger.
How can you be so selfish, especially now, with everything at stake and the demons on the verge of returning? If you shared those techniques with everyone, we wouldn't have to fear the demons at all. We could fight back without hesitation.
Zhou Yanfei shouted, his voice trembling with emotion.
Do you think you can play the Divine Paragon and use his techniques to control us? This is bigger than you. Far bigger.
2109 Divine Paragon's will.
Selfish.
Yanhara narrowed her eyes at Zhou Yanfei, looking annoyed. Then, she spoke loudly.
Zhou Yanfei, you old fart. When the hell are you ever going to let people finish speaking before you jump to conclusions? I cannot even count how many times you've done this already. The Divine Paragon taught everyone how to use demon sealing aura and shared some of his demon sealing techniques, so humanity could stand against the demons. But there were a few he deliberately chose not to share.
She took a step forward, her gaze sharp.
Are you calling the Divine Paragon selfish for that? That's.
Zhou Yanfei took a step back, taken aback by her response.
Do you know why he chose not to share those techniques?
Yanhara took another step forward as she questioned him. Zhou Yanfei also took another step back, and he silently shook his head in response to her question.
That's because these techniques are not something everyone can use. These techniques are incredibly complex and difficult to control, and a single mistake could seal the user instead.
Yanhara revealed.
Did you know I learned these techniques years ago? And yet, I've only just begun to use them properly.
She clenched her fists, voice rising.
Even now, I can barely tap into their true potential, and I've personally received the Divine Paragon's guidance through his legacy. If I shared these techniques without restraint, it would do more harm than good. Moreover, these techniques are so powerful that they can affect humans and not just demons, and you want to share with everyone? You must be out of your mind.
Zhou Yanfei was left speechless, but Yanhara wasn't done speaking.
Naturally, I do not intend to keep these techniques to myself. However, I will only pass them on to those I deem responsible and trustworthy. It doesn't take more than a few capable individuals with these techniques to deal with any amount of demons. That's just how powerful they are.
Hearing this, Zhou Yanfei lowered his head and sighed.
I've spoken too soon and offended you. I apologize.
Yanhara added firmly.
And if you think I'll hand these techniques over to the Demon Sealing Grotto while you still treat the Demon Sealing Clan as your enemy, you can forget it. I intend to lead the Demon Sealing Clan one day as the Divine Paragon successor, and I won't share such valuable techniques with those who stand against us. What?
Zhou Yanfei stared at her in stunned disbelief. But it wasn't her declaration to one day lead the Demon Sealing Clan that left him speechless, it was her claim to be the Divine Paragon successor that truly shook him.
Leading the Demon Sealing Clan and being the Divine Paragon successor are two entirely different things.
Zhou Yanfei said, a slight frown creasing his brow.
You might be able to force your way onto the throne, but you'll never be recognized as a true successor.
Yanhara sneered.
Do you think I only received the Divine Paragon's techniques through his legacy? What do you mean?
Zhou Yanfei asked for clarification. Without saying another word, Yanhara retrieved a peculiar device from her spatial ring and placed it gently on the floor. The moment she infused it with her spiritual energy, a projection shimmered to life, a figure slowly materializing before them in a ghostly, ethereal form. Zhou Yanfei instantly recognized this figure and fell to his knees.
The Divine Paragon.
The figure was none other than Chenshu, the Divine Paragon. After a brief moment of silence, the figure began to speak.
My name is Chenshu, though most of you may know me as the Divine Paragon, or the Bane of Demons.
He said, his voice calm and resolute.
Understand that my disappearance may have raised many questions, but that chapter belongs to the past. My purpose ended with the defeat of the Demon Clan. However, I have chosen to leave my legacy behind.
Chenshu continued.
Whoever is the first to find it shall inherit all of my knowledge and techniques, and bear the title of my successor. If the day comes when the demons return, and I am no longer here, place your trust in my successor. They will be the one to carry on my will.
Of course, this entire display had been orchestrated by Yuan and Yanhara just days earlier. All it took was a carefully crafted recording of Yuan posing as Tian Chenyu. Given that such projection technology had existed since the demonic era, it would be nearly impossible to prove the recording was fabricated. Moreover, the fact that Yanhara genuinely knew the divine paragon's techniques only added to the illusion, making the deception all the more convincing. That said, the recording wasn't entirely a lie. After all, Yuan truly was the divine paragon, and he had genuinely chosen Yanhara as his successor. The only issue was convincing others without revealing his true identity. Yanhara retrieved the recording device and said,
This was left behind where I discovered the divine paragon's legacy. If you still don't believe me, I have more evidence.
Yuan had given Yanhara his demon sealing ring and a few more cards to play just in case Zhou Yanfei remained skeptical. Fortunately, they didn't need to reveal these cards since Zhou Yanfei believed them without any questions.
This junior demon sealer greets the divine paragon's successor,
Zhou Yanfei said as he bowed respectfully, his demeanor shifting completely. Yanhara then spoke, her voice firm yet composed.
As I said, I intend to challenge Chenshu and lead the demon sealing clan. While it may be too much to ask for the demon sealing grotto's full support, can I at least count on you, Zhou Yanfei?
Zhou Yanfei nodded and said,
Of course, but it won't just be my support. I will ensure the entire demon sealing grotto supports you, after we clean out all of the traitors, of course.
Yanhara nodded with a satisfied smile.
Then I'll count on you.